All right. This week I'm kind of going to take an approach on what's new in the news or whatever, kind of like an approach of like ad- adventuring. So I'm going to compare D&D and Pathfinder. So like D&D definitely seems to have a lot more adventure books that are out there. Hence, like you can see, like for instance, with me, all I have is like pretty much like one plus like a small introductory. Can't even pull out the plate. Yeah, there we go. Plague Stone, little like a small booklet with like a one-shot adventure of Plague Stone, plus the Age of Ashes adventure series, and of course with D&D, there are a bunch of ones and everything. So it seems that like D&D, if you want pre-made adventures, is definitely like the gaming system that you want to go to and everything. So now, of course, there's a bunch of other ones that are out there for Pathfinder that I have yet to get myself and everything. But I think the reason why there's like so many more adventure books for D&D versus Pathfinder is because D&D has been around a lot longer, because Pathfinder's only been around for probably about like 10, 15 years or so. And so like of course the Age of Ashes is the first introductory one to the second edition and everything. So, and of course there have like if you go do like a quick search for like adventures, you can see like stuff pop up like the Seven Dooms of Sandpoint and everything for Pathfinder. So of course, again, like the pre-made adventures for D&D, you could quite possibly like if I sit here and pull out one for instance, the Explorer Guides to Wildemount. It's a D&D book and everything that while it's for fifth edition, you could in a sense open it up and use the information to kind of like shift gears and shift it into like a whole campaign for Pathfinder. Of course, Pathfinder does have its own campaign set with the Galorian world, and so in the unboxing uh, video I did recently, like I did show the map of like the campaign setting for like the world of Galorian. This one is like this is a dice tray that was in that unboxing video. So as like you can see, like it kind of like just pretty much snaps up the real quick into a dice tray, and it does have the world map and everything. So this is a nifty little dice tray that I did with the unboxing. So uh, Pathfinder does have its own like campaign set with the Galorian world, and that's what like the Age of Ashes campaign setting is set in. So I will eventually talk about that in like one of my flip throughs and everything. So like the Age of Ashes, like it was kind of like the introductory adventure to the second edition of Pathfinder, and so it's a campaign unto itself and everything. So it's kind of very rare that you find pre-made like adventures that are campaigns unto themselves and everything. So now it's one of those like Age of Ashes. It's like with it being like the first adventure book or adventure series for second edition. It's kind of like you get opinions on the gamut, and it's like run from both negative and positive. Like, oh, it's poorly written. It's like it's being the first one, so like they had to like hash out like a lot of rules, and a lot of things better have come out in sense from it. And there are other people that have are stating like, oh hey, you look, I've run through it and like it was great. I'm currently through in book 3 and everything, and there's others that like, oh, there's so many different plot holes, and there's like you can run a bus through, and like you can do this and that, and but the way I look at it is like you take a step back and like just like a D&D adventures. Like for instance, like the Curse of Strahd. Let's see if I can actually find it. Yeah, nope. Let's see. All right. Anyway, we can talk about. Oh yeah, here it is. Too many books. Like Curse of Strahd. Is this necessarily like a perfect one, or whatever? Like a well, not, you can say not really because it focuses in on vampires, and like if you don't want to run an adventure with vampires, then like you're going to say like, oh, it totally sucks and everything. But of course, if you're into something like that and like running the undead and everything, then yeah, you're going to say it's good and everything. So in this segment of like news and stuff. I'm just going over like adventures and pre-made adventures, and of course, my viewpoint on pre-made adventures is they're great for like first time DMs or like new DMs like that are people that are just getting into like DM being a dungeon master, or in the case of Pathfinder, a game master. They're great in that way. Like a lot of the legwork is done for you. So like for instance, picking up like the Curse of Strahd again, you have an adventure that you can take people from levels 1 to 10, and like everything is laid out for you in the book and everything. So if like you're like for instance, if like you're a player has been playing for like 4 or 5 campaigns, you kind of want to start your own group up, and like, yeah, you know, I have a good handle on the rules. I've played a bunch of like different types of characters. Okay, I've played like a martial class. I've played in like the fighter. I've played a rogue. I've played a wizard. I've played a cleric. I've played a ranger. So I've played a multitude of different types of characters. I want to get into like being a dungeon master or a game master. This is where pre-made adventures really shine, is that it helps you kind of like bridge the gap in between being a player and a dungeon master, or you diving right into it firsthand, like oh, I've never played the D&D or Pathfinder before, but I want to get my own group and everything. So now, if that's the case, my viewpoint is like get into all these ideas for adventures is as like a dungeon master. Like for instance, like with D&D, you're going to want to get the obviously the player's handbook. Now I always state the only requirements for like stuff like a D&D is like the player's handbook and some dice. Now you can do a starter set to kind of like and I'm big on like, hey, look, a starter set's a great introductory way to get into it and everything, because like for $30-$35 you get a pre-made box all set in like with an adventure, pre-made characters, a set of dice, uh, everything you need to do to just jump right in and everything. So that would be like I would say the best way to do it. But if you're like, well, I don't like I'm like that will only last so long and everything, and like I kind of want to build something that's going to last several months, if not like a year or two. Like I want to get like my friends that are showing interest in like in it too. So if you're not necessarily big on like getting into like a starter set, beginner's box or whatever, and you want to jump right in, like for instance, like as I pull out even more books, so. I don't know where I put my player's handbook and everything. So, anyway, player's handbook, obviously, and then like as a DM, you want to get the Dungeon Master Guide, and you want to get the Monster Manual. With those 3 books and everything, you'll be all set for being able to the DM, because with the player's handbook, you have everything you will need to do to be able to help people create characters. You know, give you all the background information on the rules for like combat, stats, abilities, saving throws, like I said, character creation, and like it'll give you the whole 9 yards to get started. Whereas like the Dungeon Master Guide expands, and okay, like it gives you like as the DM a whole another book, several hundred pages worth of more information to be able to expand on that. The Monster Manual gives you like hundreds of monsters to be able to like with stats, descriptions, and like pictures, and like okay, like I want to run like and then I want to run Curse of Strahd. Now, of course, if you bought those 3, like you wouldn't necessarily need like a monster manual to run something like this, because like a lot of the character like the characters and NPCs and monsters are already in here. But what you can do is use the monster manual to reference, and like okay, if you think like for instance like the Death House in here is going to be a little too tough, like you could kind of use the monster manual to kind of substitute monsters and stuff and everything. So that's where something like that would come in handy, and like getting something like this would be like great to start. But of course, you're looking at like roughly $250 to get started between like this Monster Manual, Dungeon Master Guide, plus like the player's handbook, plus some dice and everything, and then like so that's why I usually say get into like the the starter set, so that way you're only down $30 and everything. If for instance, like something goes, if for instance you get your friends involved and it goes flop, you're down $30. I'm like, oh, okay, well I wasted only $30 versus like, oh man, I just spent like $250 on stuff and it went terrible. So that's why I say start with the starter set. But like if you've been like if you're really into it and your friends and like a family are really into it, then yes, go with like something like this plus the holy trinity of the player's handbook, monster manual, dungeons and masters guide. So it's the same thing goes with like a Pathfinder. So like you can get like the whole series, the Age of Ashes, plus the core rulebook, plus like the game master guide, and you'd be all set to go with a set of dice and everything. So that's I'm kind of getting adventure ideas and kind of like how to get into it and everything, and like adventure and like versus D&D versus Pathfinder, and like of course like always you can switch things over from D&D to Pathfinder and vice versa, and of course that's the whole like big like Pathfinder D&D thing I have for today, and another like the third thing or whatever I have for today is like the Hero Quest. Now, if I haven't mentioned it already, I'll mention it either first time or again that the latest expansion, Jungles of Delthrak, are coming out. Is coming out in August. Now I do plan on getting it and doing like the unboxing of it, so that way people can actually see what's in it. So with that, and of course, that's also a good way to get into like this whole realm of like a TTRPG is to do board games, because like Hero Quest, I mean, people might be turned off by the $100 price tag for a board game, but like if you, I mentioned this before with miniatures. If you look at the miniatures themselves, you can get that and like use the miniatures to bring them into your D&D or Pathfinder campaigns. So like it's worth its weight in gold alone in just the miniatures and everything. So that's where it makes up for like the $100 price tag. Plus you got all the expansions like there's Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord. There's Mage of the Mirror, Rise of the Dread Moon, Frozen Horror, and there's the character expansions. I'm kind of bringing stuff off the top of my head and everything. So the Jungles of Delthark is the next one coming out, and of course the Hero Quest First Light was recently announced and everything. And of course, what's reason why I'm going to talk about First Light is what's got everyone. It seems like a lot, or at least a lot of people, up in arms is like the whole cover. It's like it looks like it's AI generated art and everything. So like a lot of people are like, oh, it's AI generated. Oh, we gotta be so mad. It's not supporting like the artists and everything. So it's just kind of like, and the way it's from what I've been listening to and hearing and seeing, it's looking like it's kind of like going to be like like an introductory type of thing, sort of like the starter set for D&D. It's going. It definitely seems like it's going to be geared towards that, and of course, got up in arms like, okay, well, is it like an expansion, like, or is it just like I said, an introductory box plus like the whole up in arms being like with the cover art being like a AI generated, and of course like Hasbro or Avalon Hill has come out. It's like, oh yeah, look, we actually got this artist, and like apparently like an artist that has made art in the past that's been kind of like politicized and everything. So like people have like even more uproar in that and everything. So I mean, the artwork aside, because like I'm kind of against AI generated art because I want to support artists and everything. So like I mean, yeah, I'm biased against AI, but I'm going to focus on like so because that's the negative aspect that I kind of want to touch upon. The positive aspect is like if it is an introductory like box that people can get for maybe half the price to get into Hero Quest, then yes, by all means get everything, even if it is like using AI generated art and everything. So, and that's like another thing I probably will pick up just to kind of like showcase like, oh hey, look, here's what it's all about. Whether or not you agree or disagree with AI art, okay, we'll put that over here. Let's look at it and the fact that is this something that can get people into Hero Quest as a game, because I know I enjoyed it as a kid and everything, because I played through the main quest line, plus we did the at least some of the Return of the Witch Lord from what I remember. I do remember Kellar's Cave, even though we didn't get through it, and of course now getting back into it and everything, and like definitely still just as fun now as it was when I was a kid and everything. So it's a game that's definitely well worth getting into and everything. So a board game like this can help bridge you into the TTRPG realm as well. So that's why I'm big on board games, because like it could be like a great way to introduce you to the whole D&D and Pathfinder scene, and it give you a lot simpler in a sense concept to learn and how your characters are run, dice rolling. It's not as complex as D&D or Pathfinder. So those are the things I kind of wanted to touch upon today. So this will probably be released like on a Sunday or Monday, not the usual Saturday, because I forgot to release my usual Wednesday book. And like, oh shit, I forgot to release that, and I released it on Friday. So I don't want to space these things too close together. So definitely keep an eye out for this, and definitely keep an eye out for my next flip through. That if I don't forget again, I'll definitely be releasing it on the usual Wednesday as well. So like, and then of course once I get through all my flip throughs and everything, I do plan on focusing in on like start focusing on character classes, like go through the core classes, the prestige classes, how you go about at least give general ideas on how to like play like each character, so that way people can get like a good idea, like coming into like, oh hey, I can watch these videos and get a good idea, a general idea of how each character class works and everything. So that's the stuff that is in the makings and that is coming up and everything.